Oh boy.
Nightmares, they are out there sucking up life, devourers of souls. Not mere myths, but a chilling truth to bear. Evil images from lore, revealing their ghastly roles. What are these beastly things of fright? Could be a friend or the stranger you met last night. Legends of tales, each one holds a grain of truth. Hidden beasts within us waiting to break loose. But listen closely, for this is not the beast I see. Not the primal instincts that dwell in the deep. No, it's the ones who revel in the dark release. Twisting truths, bending laws, the flaws they keep. They find joy in chaos, delight in pain. Their hearts tainted, their minds unchained. They dance on the edge where shadows meet light. Their existence a paradox, both wrong and right. They wear masks of civility and harbor dark desires, feeding on discord, stoking the fires. They left their echoes in the corridors of power, a symphony of malevolence, growing louder by the hour. Listen closely, for this is not the beast I seek. Not the primal instincts that dwell in the deep. No, it's the ones who revel in the dark release. Twisting truth, bending laws, the flaws they keep. Bottom masks of civility and harbor dark desires, feeding on discord, stoking the fires. The echoes in the corridors of power, a symphony of malevolence, growing louder by the hour. But listen closely, for this is not the beast I seek. Not the primal instincts that dwell in the deep. No, it's the ones who revel in the dark release. Twisting truths, bending laws, the flaws they keep. The bustling streets where sirens wail and taxis race. A lost penguin roams, its flippers out of place.
Oh, here comes a penguin.
Billboards, it seeks a hidden truth, for it knows the darkest lies within the absolute. What are these enigmatic souls of the night? Could be your barista or the artist by the street light. Urban legends whisper tales of their disguise. Hidden villains among us, you can find them by their lies. Listen closely, for this is not the foe I seek. Not the mundane wrongdoers who blend in so sleek. No, it's the ones who thrive on secrets and deceit. Bending rules, distorting facts, their motives incomplete. The penguin feathers ruffled by nonsense, tracking footprints of malevolence beneath the same trees. It waddles past coffee shops where laptops come and brew. Their existence a paradox, both lost and true. They say their every word is true, yet harbor hidden fires, a simple hate for you. Feeding on chaos, stoking ambition's desires, a symphony of malevolence masked by tailored truth. But listen closely, for this is not the foe I seek. Not the ordinary schemers who play hide and seek. No, it's the ones who revel in the dark release. Twisting narratives, bending laws, the flaws they cease. Strong sage dwellers of the shadows embrace, while they walk among us, leaving traces of disgrace. Their hunger insatiable, their motives unclear. In this concrete jungle, who will emerge is still clear.
Penguins.
Batman's back in town, Penguin.
Nuh-uh.
Hello. My microphone is muted. Isn't that wonderful? How's everybody doing? I'm Zerzu Zyquin. Welcome to my professional channel. Anyway, I've got several subjects I want to touch on today. I want to look at one thing real quick.
And Andrew.
Yep. That's what I wanted to see. Okay, so I have several subjects I want to talk on today. That's probably going to be around the last one. there's some recent news. I guess Irish Demon is being sued by Chili DeCastro. And of course, you know, Shiz Happens is absolutely happy about that. And so I wasn't going to watch it, but one of my viewers asked me a question about it. So, and I have prepared something to send that viewer. But one of my viewers asked me a question about it, so I went over and watched it. And so you remember when I said Shiz loves to hear about herself? Well, I got the proof.
Irish Demon's associates later ceased all public denial and grew silent as the controversy escalated. Oh, I've never been silent. My dog doesn't even know how to be silent.
Oh,
Irish
shoot.
Demons.
Oh, shoot. That's the wrong video, but that is a powerful one that I'm going to actually send to somebody. That is her implicating herself as one of Irish Demon's accomplices. Did you hear what she just said? So her name hadn't been mentioned yet. What was said was Irish Demon's associates later canceled. Can we make this bigger so I can see it? Darn it! Why does that button not work? I thought it's supposed to get bigger. There it is. Where is it? Irish Demon's associate later ceased all public denial and grew silent as the controversy escalated. Her name is not mentioned yet. And what did she just say?
Irish Demon's associates later ceased all public denial and grew silent as the controversy escalated. Oh, I've never been silent. My dog doesn't even know how to be silent. Irish Demon's associates later
you just implicated
ceased all
yourself,
public
ma'am.
denial and grew silent as the
Quite
controversy
literally.
escalated. Oh, I've never been silent. My dog doesn't even know how to be silent.
Now, for the right video that I wanted to play, let's pull it up real quick. I don't know why I pulled up the wrong one. I thought that was supposed to be. Oh, no, I know where it is. It's over here in my buttons because I now have a button for it. If Shiz ever claims that she doesn't, that she's not narcissist or anything like that, here we go. Does she love her name?
Most critically, Shiz, hey, that's me. Shiz Happens.
Me.
Most critically, Shiz, hey, that's me. Shiz Happens. Most critically, Shiz, hey, that's me. Shiz Happens.
Anyway, that's about the last I'll be mentioning Shiz on this, but she did implicate herself in that court case by saying, when it said his accomplices went silent, and she said, I've never went silent. And I'm surprised she doesn't realize that just simply her name in statements in this court filing shows that she's in line. Hey, Shiz, soon you will be just like Irish Demon with a lawsuit that you have to contend with from Chili DeCastro. Anyway, hello, Vestige of Peace. Hello, Sirloin. No, we don't want to play that again. Matter of fact, I want to remove it entirely. Hey, Daisy, how are you doing? Yeah, I'm not really going into it that well. I just was hitting on the subject. Or I clicked the wrong one, but hello, Daisy. And I'm sure I already said hello to Nightwolf, but hello, Nightwolf. How you doing? I'm really glad to see Nightwolf back. I missed him a lot. So I have somebody building in the distance. I should probably close my professional studio door. Anyway, so I should close the door so maybe I don't get distracted by the hammering in the background. I'd like to talk about pressers, specifically presidential pressers. So, you know, in the past, if we think back, like before all this modern tech, we'll just go ahead before cell phones. So we'll go like Reagan and beyond, Carter and beyond. How many press conferences do you remember seeing on Air Force One? On board Air Force One. How many do you think Reagan or Carter or anybody before that did on, or all would be JFK. How many press conferences or pressers do you think have been held on Air Force One, let's say before Clinton? Not many, if any. From what I can find, none. Correct vestige of peace, none. Now, when you think press conference, what comes to your head? What comes to your head? What comes to my head is the president standing outside of, like, let's say the White House with the, with the big droopy chain lantern that's out in the area where they drive in, and giving a statement to the press, or the press, or going over to the press box, which was later built, a special press box, and having a press conference there, or more typically a room that was purpose built within the White House for press conferences. By the way, hello, Senator Monkey. But most specifically, a room that was designed exactly for press conferences. It was designed for the press with tap-ins and everything. And every so often there was the Rose Garden. We had the Rose Garden where we could have beautiful press conferences. We'd have all the seats set up in the Rose Garden for the press conferences. It was beautiful. Oh yeah, that's right. We can't do that anymore. Some dipshit got rid of the Rose Garden. Well, I guess, in all reality, I can't really attack him too much on that, because he never promised us a Rose Garden. Private investigator. Expert private investigator. Yeah. YouTube person. Yeah, I know, that was hilarious. Hey, how are you? Maybe I'm gonna hop on your channel one day. I'd like to talk to you about some stuff. Maybe, I'm not sure. We'll talk about it. Anywho, so, and I try to think back of when was the first time I remember press conferences on I would have to say press conferences on Air Force One. I'm also reading the chat. Sorry. The first time I can remember would be like Bill Clinton, and it was very limited. It was extremely limited. Mostly just off the record chats. They weren't really press conferences. They were more of an informal chat type thing. And then I think about G-Dub. Well, G-Dub had a few pressers on the Air Force One. Mostly they were for, I think a lot of that was for the battles that we were in. They were like on the I got to get out of here, man. Or not out of here. I got to move to where I'm going. So we need to do this press conference. I'm already in the plane. Let's do it. Now, as far as outside of Air Force One, I don't really remember. I mean, yeah, I guess there were a few outside of Air Force One. And I think most of those were just basically where the president was going, that more than anything about our nation. And then we go to Barack Obama. Now, Barack Obama did have some pressers on board Air Force One. They weren't necessarily pressers, though. If you go back and you watch the Barack Obama's Air Force One engagements with the press, most of them were informal. Mostly they were like question and answer type. No real. He didn't give like huge speeches, spent most of the time for questions and answers. I guess that moves us forward to like Donald Trump. Now, Donald Trump frequently engages with press conferences on board Air Force One. And I think there's a reason for that. Now, if you think about what does a jet sound like? It's really freaking loud. And if you've ever watched those pressers on board Air Force One, you could barely hear them. I mean, unless somebody's sitting there with their mic up his butt, you really can't hear them. And then I think about the press conferences outside of the White House with Marine One sitting there just ready, running, and oftentimes it's not even like he needed Marine One there. It was like he was just doing a presser on the way to the limo, and Marine One happened to be parked in the freaking Rose Garden at the time. Unfortunately, we don't have that anymore. But and then you have these where he's having them outside of the Air Force One helicopters, and I think a lot of that is so that he can't necessarily, so you can't hear what he's saying. Most certainly for a plausible deniability, I would agree with that. So he can, oh, you heard it wrong. That wasn't what I said. You heard it wrong. Recently, he didn't necessarily hold it. I should start by saying this is mostly humor, but yet at the same time, it does fall along that same line of trying to communicate with our press in a manner in which the press cannot clearly understand what you're saying. Now, another reason we don't have Air Force One, or we've never really had a lot of Air Force One press conferences, is all of the press can't be there. All of that's a good example would be the Associated Press being removed from Air Force One for a while. Give me a second, I got a cough. And I could probably use a drink as well. Now, let's just go ahead and watch this. I'm going to call it a presser. He does speak to the press.
Hey, you know what, guys? I got a good idea. The press can't normally hear us. Let's try this on the roof. It'll be better.
Don't jump, sir. Don't jump, sir. Nobody in the nation likes you. You have the lowest approval rating of any president in the United States of America. Don't do it, man. Don't do it. I mean, there's only one other president in history that has a lower approval rating than you, sir. Oh, wait. Never mind. That was you as well. What the hell are you doing?
What does that mean?
More ways to spend my money.
Okay, now wait a minute. I got to call him out here. More ways to spend your money. You know, I can think of a lot of ways to spend your money in the United States of America that has nothing to do with that White House, which we already pay for modifications on. I can think of a lot of ways to help average U.S. citizens by spending your money. Yes, if that is what you're looking to do, maybe you should hire me as counsel, because I can think of, you know, housing services. Shit, Jimmy Carter built homes.
That will show you. It's just another way to spend my money for the country. Anything I do is financed by me, so you know where it's contributed. Just like my salary is contributed, but nobody ever mentions that.
I don't believe that. Maybe somebody should FOIA that to find out if his salary, if he's actually turned in his salary to our country, or if it's bullshit. Oh yeah, he's building a ballroom. Oh, now all presidents have made modifications, personal modifications to the White House. They've made bowling alleys, and two different presidents have made bowling alleys, and there's been tennis courts added and removed, but a ballroom, and if you've seen the images of it, what is proposed, it's absolutely disgusting. It's all white and gold. That's the most disgusting look I could ever imagine. And I mean, white's not a problem. White and gold. You got to throw some red in there or something somewhere other than just gold, 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 gold. And why? Why so much gold? Now, that ballroom is what I suspect the ding-dongs on the roof for. My guess is that the Secret Service told him, hey, we got too much. Have you seen the roof of not like looked at from above the roof of the White House, but from the street, if you look at the White House, there's all kinds of crap up there for the Secret Service on the roof. My guess is he's trying to build a skylight, a large skylight for the ballroom. And they're having to tell him, look, Trump, we can't build this large skylight you want because we got stuff up there. And because he's such an idiot, they actually had to bring him up to the roof to show him that there's stuff on the roof in the way of what he wants. Hey guys, I tell you what, I'm also probably going to ditch the Andrew Wilson part of the debate. No, we might start it, and we might put a part 2 on that. Yeah, no, even when they burnt it down, they basically rebuilt the same thing.
Mr. President, what do you want to build? What are you trying to build? Sir,
You see what it says there? And now listen, let's see if I'm kidding. Is there a way to boost the audio on just this? I should have probably done that before I came on. Proper preparation prevents poor performance.
More missiles? Are you building missiles?
Now, that was supposed to be a joke. I get it. He's building nuclear missiles up there, but I mean, you see, Biden did that. He gave little whiffs to the press like that. But no, they were funny, and I can't think just only Biden ever gave little whiffs to the press like that. I'm sure Nixon gave little whiffs to the press that were funny, but that wasn't really funny. That was just like not funny. But I mean, talk about go a place where the press can't hear you at all. You gotta look like you're doing something, sir. No, I'm absolutely sold on the idea that. By the way, hello, Laura Ryder. I am absolutely sold on the idea that he had to go up there to see for himself that he couldn't build what he wanted. And yeah, I do kind of, you were mentioning that earlier. That's why I was wanting to dive out. But anyway, I can just go ahead and continue on the Andrew Wilson. So Andrew Wilson is supposedly a Christian. Now, I'm not exactly sure, but I'm pretty sure there's something about not deceiving somebody. I would have to say there's something about not lying to somebody. And And I would have to say that lies are most certainly, especially to win an argument. Why would you would you say denying something that you know as true, or trying to twist something that you know as true, leading to old definitions that you know are rarely used when the more current definition is the correct definition? Would you consider that a form of deception or lying? I think deception is just another word of lie. That we try to make all these different words that mean basically the same thing. Like, let's just say morality. Good morality is good action, and bad morality is bad action. We don't really have to go too much into what good and bad is, because I'm pretty sure I can explain easily to you what bad is, even without a Christian definition. If you don't believe me, give me your finger. I think I got a good cigar cutter. Anyway, so you might remember this young lady that came up and was trying to call Andrew Wilson out for not following Orthodox Christianity.
And Andrew, the debate topic today is Andrew and Rachel are representing a distorted version of Orthodox Christianity.
Now, we remember her. I don't think she had a good argument. I think she went with a bad premise in the beginning that if you're going to call somebody out on their not following Orthodox Christianity, then you want to have solid evidence. And today I have some of that solid evidence. As I said, lying is not good for a Christian to do. Now, we all know this Cindy Sweeney commercial debacle that we had going on. Well, I'm not sure if it was actually a debacle. Let's just go ahead and start with something I was going to put in the middle, because I probably will end up ending this before I get to where I wanted to be. So, genes, your genes being great and stuff like that. It sounds like to me that there may have been a time when that was, oh yeah. Almost all gene commercials.
The secret of life lies hidden in the genetic code. Genes are fundamental in determining the characteristics of an individual and passing on these characteristics to succeeding generations. Occasionally, certain conditions produce a structural change in the gene, which will bring about the process of evolution. This may occur in one or more of the following ways.
Wait a minute, am I playing the right commercial? This is that Cindy Sweeney American Eagle commercial, isn't it? I mean, that's what they're all freaking about, that she's talking about how her genes, and it's a beautiful woman with blue eyes.
Firstly, by selective mating, in which a single gene type proves superior in transmitting its genes to future generations. Secondly, by gene drift, in which certain genes may fade away.
Now, if you ask me, this commercial is much more provocative than the original. But this is that Cindy Sweeney commercial they're freaking about, right? Because we've never, ever, ever heard a gene company in the history of mankind ever suggest genetics and genes and the whole mixture of genetics and never. Oh, no. Wait, I don't think. This must be that Cindy Sweeney commercial that everybody's upset about.
Other genes persist. And finally, by natural selection, which filters out those genes better equipped than others to endure in the environment. This may result in the origin of an entirely new species, which brings us to Calvin's and the survival of the fittest.
And why would anybody sit like that naturally?
Calvin.
Anywho, so that wasn't the Cindy Sweeney commercial. I know it wasn't the Cindy Sweeney commercial. I just thought it'd be funny to throw in there because it's very clearly not. anything to do with Yahtzeeism. Now, were there some undertones of yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on, I guess, the listener. But if you watch those ads, there's more than one of them. There's 3 of them. One of them accentuates her let's just say her upper body, and the other one is it points out her ass. They all mention her genes, and when we think about genetics, you know, what do we say about somebody who actually tries to lose weight but they can't lose weight, and everybody around them sees that they're eating like a bird but they still can't lose the weight? We talk about genetics. That's exactly what we do. Anywho, so we're going to go a little bit further with this, and I actually have a couple good words to say about Sarah in the beginning.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I see some new faces here. Tally, you're new. Faraway, I think you've been here once before. Andrew, you're of course a regular. Brick, Evan. All right, everybody on the top panel is protected. I normally only do that on Monday nights, but we're doing Throwdown Thursday, so why not? Everyone below is bootable. Andrew, they would have to pay a lot to boot you, but I'll do it if they pay $500, and then somebody else has to pay $500 to bring you back up. So they probably just shouldn't do it. But anyway,
Now, some people would be like, oh, that's bogus. Just because this guy has got a huge crowd following him, she's going to make that person worth $500, which everybody else gets 5 minutes for $5. However, I can make an argument for her, which actually says this is logically sound. I'd have to get into the whole detail about grift. Yes. I'd have to get into the whole detail of the difference between a grift and a money grab. Now I believe they're 2 different things, and you know, so we'll get into, I'm going to do an entire show about grifting, but there's a difference between grifting. Grifting requires a deception, or, you know, like you have to be, so if you tell a lie to gain the money, that's grift. Or if you try to act like, you know, that you have a purpose for the monies, such as, you know, like Kaiser court documents for 2 years on your channel, and then not your channel, but 2 years, that's grift. The Welsh News Network mess, grift. He was supposed to be giving money to the places that it was supposed to be going. But if you're out there telling your viewers, you know, I'm running this to make, I want to give you good content. I'm going to try to make it as much money as I possibly can. You guys can pay to keep people off. Now, one thing you could argue is that, oh, because he's a huge channel, she doesn't want to kick him off. Now, I can kind of stand up for her a little bit on this. If you are a channel that is based, this is your business. This is you now want to turn YouTube into your business. Somebody like him, now this is going to, I believe in the future, probably end up backfiring on her, but somebody like him bringing tons of people to your channel. Why would one of your subscribers do that to you? If they liked your channel, why would one of your subscribers, when a person sits down and almost 1,000 people sit down just because he sat down on your channel, why would you, as a viewer, remove the channel you're watching's ability to make the money that person brings in, to make the new subs that person brings in by kicking them off the panel? So I kind of understand with her on this, but later I will point out where he doesn't feel the same about you, Sarah. I'm sorry. He doesn't.
Want to go ahead and kick the floor out. You guys.
But that's one of the things I'd like to talk about on one of my streams, or on maybe even on. I really want to get into this the subject between the difference between grift and making money on YouTube. Trying to make as much as you possibly can off of YouTube and trying to suck every penny out of your viewer. There's a difference between that and a true grift. A grift requires, before I ever get into it, we should probably check out the definition. It requires a deceit. If you're telling the people, hey, I'm trying to take your money, it's no real deception there. And she does. She'll tell them straight out in the middle of her show, hey, you know what? You guys haven't hit the goal yet. Not really doing me good. You know what I mean? I'm trying to make a lot of money here. She says that all stuff. So, is it a grift at that point? I don't think so. A grift would be when you find somebody who's trying to make a bunch of money on YouTube, and you tell them, "Oh man, you're just trying to make a bunch of money," and they go, "No, I'm doing everything for a good cause. A good cause." That's a grift. But yeah, I would like to go into that subject one day about grift and stuff.
You guys know the drill. Keep the interruptions to a minimum. Let's have some fun. Go ahead.
Right.
So
just admit that you are jealous of my blonde hair and blue eyes. Just admit it.
Beautiful,
That's why
you're a beautiful boy, Evan. Okay, but does everyone agree that Yahtzee propaganda
Oh yeah, my mic was off, by the way. I remember that. And they put up, they had plausible deniability for that. They put up a GoFundMe to go to Alabama for the sentencing of Michael Kaiser, and nobody went. It was supposed to be for Brett. Well, first I can't remember. It changed 3 different times at least that I know of, and then it was supposed to be for bed and breakfast for the people that were going to the Kaiser court. And you know, how many times have you seen DAC in a chat? And is that linked to any actual channels that are producing content on YouTube? And if it is linked to the channel that is making content, wouldn't you think that the money that was created, the money that was created under that hashtag, under that tag, should possibly go to the family? Yeah, I know you interviewed the lady. People are stupid. People all across America are stupid. And perhaps she doesn't know that you made an assload of money off of her and never gave her anything. Not you. Because I don't know why I do that. Leave people's names tagged and start talking about their comment, but end up sounding like I'm talking to them.
explicitly constructed a racial hierarchy, placing the Aryan ideal at the top. The blonde hair, blue eyes. This is at the top of the Aryan racial hierarchy of the National Socialist Movement. Everyone agrees with that, right?
Anybody disagree? I tell you what, I didn't do this, but I'm going to go ahead and put up a 5-minute timer. And I want everybody in the chat to tell me if they agree. Now, I know I get onto this. Don't do this whole freaking yes man thing. And I do not want you to do a yes man thing. I want you guys to tell me if you disagree. I don't care if you agree, because, well, if you agree that the Nazi, I can't believe I just said that. Anyway, that the Yahtzees were trying to create an Aryan race of blonde-haired, blue-eyed men, then let me know in the chat. Just say yes. Or wait. I think it's the other way around. Say no, that you disagree if you disagree. Now, the reason why I want that is there's only 8 of us in here. It shouldn't take long to get 8 no's or 8 yeses or a combination of each. Oh, no background music. Well, that sucks. I thought I had this with background music. Yeah, I kind of confused that a little bit. So you think they were trying to create blonde hair, blue eyed men? We'll just go ahead with that being a yes, I think, right? No, I accidentally confused that a bit. Good, good, good. We got 2. Right. I think I confused the question. Do you believe it was Yahtzee ideology to eventually create a perfect race of blonde-haired, blue-eyed men that would eventually dominate all because they were the perfect Aryan race? There we go. We got 3 yeses. And I know I really get on that. Don't just follow along and answer when a YouTuber says, hey, do you believe this? But this is one of those times that it would be beneficial for our conversation. And I'm sorry I didn't have music on the timer. That's why I continued to talk. I was just going to sit here silently for the 5 minutes, but we got to burn up this time here. And I have one with music added to it, but anyway, I believe we got enough answers here. Pretty much everybody said yes. So it is, as far as I know, common knowledge that that was the case. So why would somebody argue against it unless they are intentionally trying to be deceptive and dishonest? Let's go ahead and go forward. I am going to, let this play for a minute for a reason. I think I got the beginning. I think I got to really kind of listen to it.
American Eagle did not do that, though. They said that.
We can talk about what American Eagle did. That's not what I asked, right?
I don't even agree with that. No.
Now, do I think that this Cindy Sweeney ad was Yahtzee propaganda? No, I don't. I'll just go ahead and say that right now. I do not, and I have very clear reasons why. One of the reasons why would be that Yahtzee propaganda always included specifics, very clear specifics. They always spoke of the people. Where was I? I'm looking for something that I had a list of what propaganda was often used, like the blood, pure blood. Oh boy. Oh well, we can go on. Typically, they had like no, they didn't talk about dark hair. They talked about being good for the country, being of holding honor, and they most certainly didn't necessarily in their exact propaganda highlight the hair. It was more about family strength and national unity, and they oddly enough, a lot of them were echoing American propaganda as well. I lost track of where the heck I was. I hate when I do that. Anyway, so yeah, the propaganda isn't just the blonde hair, blue eyed. It's the other statements, the statements that are printed over it. Now, these statements of Jean's made to a little buttercup easily trigger you to think that it means something else, but it doesn't. And as far as Ryan Radical Coder, I like him. I think he does well, but I think he kind of he asked a question, and I think he messed up. He wanted to go at Andrew, and I understand that because I've joined at least once, wanting chomping at the bits to get at Andrew, and I didn't end up getting a spot, which makes me wonder if it was because Andrew was there and they know I want to chomp at the bits for Andrew. But there were 3 people on the bottom that answered no to his question. I would have probably ordered this in order of importance: the black man, the woman, and then Andrew Wilson. I would start with the black man. Why is this man claiming that the Nazis didn't favor blonde hair, blue eyed men? And then I would move to the woman. Why does she not think so? And then I would move back to Andrew Wilson because, well, he's going to be taking a while and he's going to run the most BS game he possibly can. 15 minutes? That's a long darn time. Anyway, just kidding, man. Be good. But before we get further on this, I've got to step off for a second. I'm going to try to find you guys some music. Now, I recorded recently a new ZNT audits. Does anybody want to see ZNT audits tomorrow? That would be awesome. I think it would. We didn't go up the tram. Instead, we went down to the lower building, and of course, there's a big section of the office part that I cut out. How about we do Bigfoot?
They say Bigfoot likes to hide, but science tells a different tale. No footprints, no fur, no trail. Oh, Bigfoot, where could you be? A myth, a legend, just fantasy. No evidence for us to see. Bigfoot, you're a mystery. Blurry photos, shaky cams, stories told by many hands. But when we look with a skeptic's eye, Bigfoot's just a tale gone by. Oh, Bigfoot, where could you be? A myth, a legend, just fantasy. No evidence for us to see. Bigfoot, you're a mystery. Shaky cams, stories told by many hands. But when we look with a skeptic's eye, Bigfoot's just a tale gone by. Scientists search both near and far, but no Bigfoot in the radar. Just a legend, a campfire song, a tale that's been around too long. Some say he jumps through dimensions or communicates with telepathic intentions. But these ideas are quite absurd. Just stories spun from word to word. Oh, Bigfoot, where could you be? A myth, a legend, just fantasy. No evidence for us to see. Bigfoot, you're a mystery. If you have been making magical, he's just imagination, no. A creature of myth, not reality. A figment of our fantasy. Science needs tangible proof, like bones, hair, tracks in tall grass, excrement or something solid to show, not just a blurry video. Just fantasy. No evidence for us to see. Bigfoot, you're a mystery. So next time you hear a Bigfoot tale, remember this song and set sail
and the debate
on
never
a journey
happened.
of truth with facts in hand, debunking Bigfoot across the land.
Sadly, that was another debate that fell through, but it didn't fall through for any other. It was a good friend that we were just doing it as a joke. I think just time constraints and things like that came up, and we never had it. But it would have been a great fun debate, I think. Hello, Sirloin. Didn't you say hello earlier? Huh, have me all confused now. Anyway, so back to this. So as we've all made a confirmation that the average Joe understands that there was a favoritism towards a exact hair color, eye color, and facial features and all other nonsense. But the people that are upset about this are primarily upset about I tell you what, I don't think anybody's upset. Is anybody in my chat really upset about this Cindy Sweeney commercial? I don't think anybody is. And I'll tell you why I say that. Has anybody ever heard of a video mill? I'm talking like the Chinese video mills where they have 100 people working in one building. And in that one building, they make 100 copies or 1,000 copies of the same video. And they title all the copies differently. They give each one, they make the video 100 videos, and then they make each one a different title and each one a different thumbnail. And then they push those videos out on channels that they push these videos out on. And then in the one that gets the most clicks and most views, they delete all the rest. And then that video they create on another channel, which is designed specifically to collect only their good hit channels. And then they post that onto that channel and delete the last one, which pushes all views to that channel, making that video get millions of views, because they know it's scientific. They know that the algorithm's pushing not only the thumbnail, it's pushing the title, and it's also pushing the video content. So then that's going to grow and it's going to get bigger. And they end up pushing out a lot of these political ideas in order to stir up everybody on something that nobody really cares about. How many people, now this is a good question to the entire nation. How many people watched that commercial and, in between a show that they were watching, and then said, oh my God. Oh, wow. Do you see all that Yahtzee propaganda in this commercial? Or how many people saw online that somebody was upset about Yahtzee propaganda in a commercial, and then that spread like a cancer does? That's what I think happened here. Now, the sad thing about that, who's going to be negatively affected? who will be negatively affected by this. The company's going to make money because bad publicity is good publicity. The writers aren't going to have any problem. They're pretty much in the back anyway. Nobody really cares. Sydney Sweeney, an actress who simply read some stupid words she was handed for a video, is who will ultimately be affected. So let's move on with this lie. This lie that Andrew Wilson does not believe that the Nazis were trying to create a perfect race of blonde hair, blue-eyed men.
Okay, so let's dig into that. So you don't think that the National Socialist movement,
I want
as
you
led by
the
mustache
question.
guy,
I want you to give me the evidence.
You want me to give you the evidence that the National Socialist movement?
What you just
And that's where I think he should have probably started with, because he had 3 people that said no. He should have probably started with the black guy here. Hey, Nakoti, how you doing? And asked him why, and then went to the woman, and then went to Andrew Wilson. I know Andrew Wilson's a big name, and you want to get at him. You want to eat him up. But you might have actually moved the debate further, ordering it, saying, okay, then I'm going to ask this question in order from the most important to the least important. And then that would actually stab Andrew a little bit to put him at the last of the least important. But really, categorically, he is. He's a standard Republican that's going to say no. The black guy, why would he say no? The woman, why would she say no? So they're obviously categorically higher than Andrew Wilson, who you expect to say no. Probably would have been a better idea to attack the other 2 people first and then move to Andrew Wilson, because we all know Andrew Wilson's game. Give me a definition. Give me a descriptor. Wait, I didn't give any prescriptions. I only gave descriptors. Give me a prescription. I don't want to give any prescriptions. Give me your definition. What do you mean by that definition? And how do you equate that definition to your reality? Stupid stuff like that. Now, I was being nice because typically he goes on to things that very easily could work in, or very easily could be terms of service violations that will easily nuke a channel.
Created a racial hierarchy.
Stop restating it and fucking give me the evidence, dork.
Okay, so does anyone else require evidence for it, or am I just doing it for Andrew?
I want evidence, dork. Give us the
I
evidence.
think it'll be okay. So like,
give us the evidence for that shit you just made up. Stupid.
And that's another one. Yeah, he's just stirring the shit, this shit disturber. But wouldn't that be a lie? Wouldn't, I mean, how would, if there is a God, how would God view that? Would he view it as a moral, noble act? I don't think so.
Stupid dork. Give us
So
the evidence.
just to be clear, Andrew, I want to be on record. You're saying that I'm right. Just to be clear, Andrew, you're saying that I'm making up the idea.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Let me engage with him.
I know. Let's go
Yes,
one at
I
a time.
am, Ryan. Show us the evidence, dork.
Okay, well, let me restate it so we can make sure everyone's on the same page.
How many times are you going to say the same?
Yeah, shut up, Sarah. He don't care. He really don't. He really does not care. I know you're getting a lot of views from him, but he really does not want to hear from you. Just shut up and let him talk. Oh, that's what's going to happen.
Shit, just
one more time, at least one more time, apparently, right?
Oh my
So I just
God.
want to be clear. You are asking me for evidence.
Evidence,
that
yeah.
The Nazis, as we're saying
Can you give
here,
it to me?
they
Can
had
you
a
give me the
racial
evidence?
hierarchy where they had blonde hair and blue eyes at the top of that racial hierarchy.
Yes, Ryan. Give me the evidence,
Okay,
dork.
open a fucking history book, Andrew. Go open any.
Man almighty, I like Radical Coder, and I know he just went through a debate, and I know it's bad for somebody to sit on the sidelines and say that's a bad argument. But that's you're telling somebody to look it up is not an argument. It's really not. It's not a good foundation. You're diving into a fallacy. I can't remember which one it is, but consensus. I think it's the appeal to consensus, where you can make your argument, but instead you're asking them to ask the consensus. I'm not exactly sure if that's a fallacy it falls under, but I know it falls under a fallacy. And speaking of a fallacy, you know, I see a lot of times these Christian debates and they put themselves as, because I'm Christian, you don't know what good or bad, or I know what good or bad is, and because you're an atheist, you don't have any argument for what good or bad is. That is not true either, and it falls into the false authority, arbiter truth, false arbiter of truth, and I keep getting that. You can't just say, because I believe in this book, that you are the arbiter of truth, and somebody who doesn't believe. That would be like the people who, like, let's say, studied hypocrisy, and then come along Ptolemy, and the people are like, no, we're not Ptolemaean, we're Hipparchian. And Ptolemaean would be atheist, and Hipparchian would be the truth, because it's lasted for so long and it's been right. Well, unfortunately, he did draw perfect circles in a sky that was imperfect.
The evidence is you. That's what I thought, Ryan.
I'm sorry you didn't learn anything about World War II. I'm sorry, you're a dumbass. Like, that's
wait, yeah, Andrew.
Nothing, dork.
Go ahead.
Open a book, dude. I don't care. I'm not.
Pardon me, gentlemen.
So I do actually have I have a link of the
I wanted to hand it
racial hierarchy, because they had a bunch of different.
And hello, Uncle Artie's Bar and Grill
Send it
Stupidity.
right now. And let's make sure we know who it's from, right? Because no, that's not actually accurate, Ryan.
And that's the second time. Sarah, he doesn't care what you have to say. He has what he wants to say, and he's going to say it, and he doesn't care if you have something to inject.
But I would love to see your fucking evidence. The reason
what's your
the reason
claim
that you guys suppose this is my claim.
It's got the
reason
Aryan
that
race.
you fucking idiots suppose this shit is because somebody told you that once, and you never bothered to look
When I
into
learned
it.
about World War II.
Now, sadly, I have to say that Andrew Wilson has a very good argument here, as far as so he's saying that they don't know because they've been told that, and unfortunately, both Soy Pill and Ryan, unfortunately, and Emily, or whatever her name is, Enemy Charlie, I'm not exactly sure, I can't see because it's really tiny, and Joe Lewis, none of them were able to provide an exact reference, a direct exact reference to the blonde hair, blue eyed.
In school, somebody told me about my teacher.
did.
I learned about.
And in school is a diversion as well. It's not an answer to the question. The answer to the question is, where exactly did that information from that school book, where did the information in the school book come from?
World War II in school, yeah.
So what was the source?
See, that's what I mean by when you're listening to a debate, you can't just sit there and say, my guy. I like Ryan. I really do. And I think it was really messed up how Andrew has treated Soy Pill in the past. But you can't just do that. If somebody's making a decent argument, such as, where are you getting this information? You should be able to provide them with your source of your information, which I will be doing, by the way. I'm not going to just keep poking and prodding. I'm going to answer where the source of information for blonde-haired and blue-eyed is. The absolute, undeniable proof, evidence of the blonde-haired, blue-eyed claim.
What was the source for this blue-eyed, blonde-haired hierarchy that you got from? What was the source of it?
My history textbook.
Your history textbook told you that.
No, I think like so it's a yikes. So Coder, respectfully, I think what Andrew's pushing on is, sure, we might have this idea that it might point to that direction, but if you have a difficult time pinpointing that, it doesn't really make the argument that good, no? Is that what you're kind of knocking at, Andrew?
Whoa.
Clear.
This is common
My
knowledge.
argument is that Ryan made it the fuck up, and he wants you to suppose
Yeah,
that
so
it's
Andrew's doing what
true.
he
Do you really believe that Ryan made it up? There's another lie. There's another lie. It's not just the one lie that you don't know that the hierarchy existed. It's the lie that you think he made it up. Do you really think he made it up? Are you really following Orthodox Christianity, sir? My answer is no. And what the heck Brick is doing up there, I have no clue. He most certainly isn't following Christianity. Oh, he always argues it, though, like he does.
What he says, which is avoiding having any actual conversation by putting pressure on a useless point that no one disagrees with. Except for him.
I'd love to hear what Andrew has to say.
Let me finish, Ryan.
Hold on. I want to hand it over to Faraway. He hasn't interrupted anybody. He kindly and politely raised his hand. Go ahead, Faraway.
Yeah, so I have a question to Ryan, right? Like, do you think Hitler was a dictator?
Okay, now that question right there, I'm not sure how they answer it, but the way I would have answered that is Splipler. Yeah, we'll just call him Splipler. He was setting himself up for destruction. He was setting himself up for a coup, and he never even realized it. He, of course, yes, was the leader of Germany, and everybody loved him. But once he started creating that perfect race, and everybody started looking at him as being completely different than that perfect race, and a weak man, they would most certainly coup against him because he does not fit the national idea of what an Aryan is. I don't think they answer that way, but that's the way I possibly would have answered.
Yeah.
So how can the hierarchy be blue eyes and blonde hair if he was a dictator and boss of the whole?
Yeah, Brick doesn't need to talk
That's so
about.
smart. No one has ever pointed out that Hitler wasn't. That's so fun.
I wasn't asking it. You was I was asking Ryan, wasn't I?
Okay, so the ideology of the National Socialist movement did not they didn't put Adolf in power based on deciding he had blue. They had
Good
blue
argument.
eyes.
Good argument.
The ideology glorified a pure German archetype, which was the blonde hair and blue eyes, and everybody knows this. Andrew's playing dumb. You're playing dumb, probably. But everyone else knows
evidence. But no evidence.
Ryan, you're mistaken.
A book. So like,
And I hate to say it, that was a good argument, but he still is missing his evidence. He's missing his key piece of evidence. I have it. I wanted to share it with him. I did. And Radical Coder, if you're watching, Ryan, man, I will be giving you this piece of evidence that just in the future, if you need it, I have it. Kind of like the biblical argument of Adam and Eve and the story of Cain and Abel and how, you know, Cain left the garden. He didn't leave the garden happy. He didn't leave the garden with an adventurous mind. He left the garden terrified. Why was he terrified? And the answer to that is he was terrified from the people outside of the garden. Wait, what people were outside of the garden? There should have been no people outside of the garden, as Adam and Eve were the first man, and their children were the only things in the garden.
A book that you
SS done by Heinrich Himmler.
Hey guys.
And the
I'm trying to tell you, Radical Coder, if you do watch this, I have some interesting things I can give you. I know you're a good debater, and a good debater always needs new tools.
the overall National Socialist movement.
I would like to bring this back
Guys,
to
do you
the
think I
actual
should
ad.
leave? This got weird. I feel like we're getting like
Charlie's accidentally talking to her channel.
Wait,
No,
getting
Andrew.
back-
Andrew.
he's
Okay, so like I hate to do this. I hate to do this. I know I'm on this side of the corner. I hate to, but Andrew is correct in the pushback. I think it's legitimate to say, like, come on, man. Racial hygiene is a book that you could cite. You could cite.
Necessary. It's not even necessary
there
to
you
get
go.
at the
Racial
real
hygiene.
like culture war issue that's happening right now with all of the pushback to this ad. So sure, I'm willing to concede certainly that part of Nazi propaganda featured this racial hierarchy. However,
Andrew won't.
American
Because once Andrew has started lying, like all fucking liars, he's just going to keep lying and keep lying and keep lying. He was afraid. Yeah, actually, I'll show you the exact verse. It's widely contested. The verse that I'm referring to is widely contested. Very widely contested. You could actually probably Google it. Was Cain afraid of leaving the garden, and why? Another interesting thing is, you know, he named a town after he left. He built a city, and he named that city. Why would that city require a name unless there were other cities named?
Eagle is not doing that. They said that Sydney Sweeney had good genes, that she is attractive. There is a real problem. This is like the "it's okay to be white" thing and the pushback to that. There's a real problem when we say if you happen by dint of birth to be born with white skin and blue eyes,
He was exiled.
you actually need to feel kind of queasy about being proud of that, or about being, you know, people being attracted to you, or about getting any type of attention. That is messaging that is extremely harmful because we don't apply this across the board. First of all, I think
this exact reason to piss off liberals by 4chan, and
exactly, it is just like that, but not for the reasons you're saying.
Exactly, and
Okay, maybe, okay, but there was a point he was expelled, and it wasn't very long after. So where were the people? And if we're talking about Adam and Eve's children, why didn't we hear about these other people that he was afraid of when he was exiled? And I'm only giving you that as a concession because I haven't given you the exact verse that I'm referring to yet. And I'm not exact. I might be, maybe I'm a little bit off on that. But when he was exiled, it's specifically after killing Abel. It specifically says that he was afraid. What was he afraid of? It is highly, highly debated. You just have to look it up, man.
Do you know who it radicalizes? Do you know who it radicalizes? The people who are not invested in either ends of this culture war, and they just see people pushing back to this about, wow, people are saying people are so upset about this idea that it's okay to be white. So, just let me fucking speak, please.
You know, another good question about Genesis. So we have this perfect being that created a man, Adam, and he created this man out of basically he just spoke him into existence. And then what'd he do? Did he lose his whole miracle mojo and he couldn't just like do the same with the woman? Nope. He needed to borrow something because obviously he wasn't perfect enough to do the same thing twice.
It's not going to be possible, White Pill.
I know. So this, first of all, the ad is brilliant. I've got good genes. My genes are blue.
Brilliant.
You can do this with a bunch of people with different colors of skin, even different colors of their eyes, and they can all say at the end, my genes are blue because the fucking genes are blue. Okay, it's a brilliant ad. It's a good idea. They could do it with lots of other celebrities. No one would be upset if they were doing this with a black celebrity or with.
That was what I was referring to. Ding dong. Dee. Welcome to freaking reality. Quit being so emotionally triggered. That was exactly what I was referring to.
Some type of brown celebrity, whatever the hell that's supposed to mean.
Shapiro
And that
It's
double
not a
standard
mystery
here
of a
is
flesh.
actually the
If
problem.
he's freaking perfect and can do it the first time, he can do it the second time just the same. He didn't need to borrow a tool from Adam. He didn't need to. He supposedly just spoke Adam into existence and the world. Why did he need that rib? Was he not perfect enough to do it again? Oh, I'm not sure if I've got this experiment right. Huh? Yeah? Or maybe I'm just explaining truth to you in a manner that you can't handle. Well, why? Like I said, explain to me. Explain to me why he didn't just poof to 2. Can you?
Are increasing the racial tension and actually increasing the types of neo-Nazi sentiment that you guys are pointing out. We are radicalizing people in that direction when we tell them that actually there is something that you need to be careful of when you're talking about yourself being white or having
Well,
blue
we know
eyes. This
that.
is
You're
not
just
Nazi
stating
Germany. If
what's
Nazi Germany
told in the
wants to
book
be
because
very
he didn't.
particular
But
about how
why?
people
Well, was he not
propagandize for their
perfect enough to
businesses,
do it
I mean, I
twice?
think free speech is a real problem in Germany, but that's something for them to work out. There is nothing Nazi-like.
I mean, I understand it. I make a bread and I want to make a bread that I can use for a long time. And I put some sugar and water and more yeast into it. It's called Forever Bread. And then I put more flour and I can make another loaf, and then I can continue doing that forever. But I'm not perfect. That's why I need the tools that are already included in the first bread to make it, or the tools that came from what I used to make the first bread. But if I was perfect, I should just be able to go, there's bread.
About an ad with a white woman with blue eyes saying, I have good genes. Your genes are passed down from mother to father.
Oh, so it's for flash and glory and glamour. Is that what it's for? It's way more impressive than Eve was made from
activists to have this
Adam.
conversation when normal people pretend that this or step
You're not
away
really
from this
making your
because it's kind of
argument there,
uncomfortable to
sir. You're
talk
just
about, okay? We need
now
to be
you're
able to have
talking
this
about how impressive it would be. Wouldn't it be more impressive if I just made Eve from Adam instead of just going poof and she's back? She's there. Now, as far as the virgin birth, is it really that much of a miracle? We have virgin births all the time. They're virgins all the way up until the point their daddy found out they're pregnant and having a baby in the hospital.
station. And no, there's nothing Nazi-like about having Sydney Sweeney talking
do
about
I?
having good genes.
Okay, so just to be clear,
Well,
when
you're
we're
the
talking
one
about
that
the
said
baby white thing. It is
you're
a
the one
dog
that said it was more flashy. It's more. Let me read this. Let me make sure I read it. It's more impressive that Eve was made from Adam. Was your answer to why he didn't just poof them both into existence? Yeah,
whistle
I
that
love
people
that,
were using
Nightwolf.
intentionally, and the whole point of a dog whistle.
I understand,
Pretend
Ryan. I
it's not a-
understand. But the purpose
It's the
of
plausible
dog
deniability.
whistle-
That's the whole thing of it.
Ryan, yes, but listen, the purpose of the dog whistle is not to attract other Nazis, other white supremacists, and people who think that
No, it's
being
to
white is
normalize
better
it.
than
I know,
everything else.
yeah.
Exactly. So you know what the left should have done when this came out? I actually am willing
Ignored
to
it.
even agree with the order of
Completely
events
ignored
here,
it.
that it was people on the
I
right.
think-
Exactly. They should have fucking
Nakoti's
ignored
got
it.
better
Exactly.
arguments
People were
against me
coming
than
out
you
saying,
do.
oh wow, this is a win.
Holly,
America is
you
so
seem
back,
to be
baby.
the
We have white people.
angriest
Hold
one.
on.
Look,
If
she's
people are
Jewish.
saying,
We can't
we're
help
so
it. We get
back,
angry
baby,
at really
we have
innocuous
white
things.
women in our we have white women in our ads now. The left should have said, who cares? Who fucking cares? Why are
True.
you giving them something to say, look how fucking crazy these people are, and look how racist these people are? Because
Ollie,
it
you're
is
more
racist.
mad than
This
any of the
reaction
people
is
on this
only
panel
happening
about
because
this.
Sydney Sweeney
You're-
is white.
Tally.
I'm not mad.
Tally. Hold on. They're gonna the people to my, I don't know how it looks like for you guys, but the people to the right of me are gonna monopolize this shit. I don't want to monopolize this shit.
Soyfill and Charlie are my.
I know the
friends,
answer.
so-
But I agree
wondering
with
if
you.
your
I agree with
answer
you.
asking code is
I also
because
agree
I
with what
know.
Andrew said. I think that if you have a particular claim about what you're observing, you got to substantiate it. Like, I think it's more reasonable to say that,
Okay, well, I
you
posted a
know,
link.
That's cool. So like I think it's very reasonable to say,
unless you're asking me, I can answer it really quickly. But I'm pretty sure you're asking Coded. I don't know. Maybe you're asking me. I know the answer though. I do.
If I'm going to cover both points, the Nazi Germany one and then the other one, right? So like certain communitarians, in particular Carl Schmitt, talked about the idea of constitutive opposites, that the idea that there's always sort of like this perpetual us versus them. And I think it's reasonable to say, if you point to people like
man, that was a great way to burn up some
Carl
time.
Schmitt, and then Chantal Mouffe expanded on this, and other communitarians, this argumentation that Nazi Germany, for instance, was trying to constitute an opposite, and by constituting an opposite, creating a them, that them included a bunch of other people, and maybe you could say that that pointed to Aryan, that was in what the fuck was that manifesto called for our boy Adolf?
I'm really hoping we get to the point where she brings up the definition.
So like he mentioned the idea of Aryan. It's also in the book that I mentioned, racial hygiene.
Is that what it was called? My Journey?
My struggles. There's also internal struggles. Okay, it could be either my struggles or inside struggles. Okay, so the answer to your question, since obviously Coded Friends couldn't come up with the answer, I wanted to make sure Coded Friends could come up with the answer before I gave the answer to the question. You know, just to see if Coded Friends was on page or if he just rambles shit about Christianity that he doesn't know. But it was Adam who chose Eve's name. And I even gave Coded Chant plenty to answer.
Nazis.
I don't know. Like there's also the pointing to the like racial hygiene is a book by Dr. Porter, I think his name. I'll put it in the side chat when I get a minute. It speaks to the idea of like how what the us was in practice, and what Aryan meant, stuff like that. It's boring book shit. But I will agree with you that Tally, that yeah, you know, when fringes monopolize conversations, it makes it very hard for different expressions to exist, right?
Yeah,
like
I wasn't trying to ignore the questions. I was really trying to give Coded Friends
normal
a chance
liberals
to
are
answer.
backing out of the conversation. Normal liberals should be speaking.
I think
up
as they
there's
should.
Nothing wrong with this ad. There's nothing wrong with promoting people who have blonde hair and blue eyes. But instead, they're afraid of
no one here said that. This whole channel, nobody said what you're saying.
You said
Tally, respectfully,
with blonde hair and blue eyes needs to be careful.
Tally, I agree with you, by the way.
K2 says, if you disagree with these people, you are a windmill of friendship card carrying member every time. BB says 10-second rage baited already, Ryan, straight to the point.
Because he's fucking bullheaded, dude. He's pretending to not know like how the Aryan race works.
Not?
But that's dishonest. I mean, I know it's funny what he's doing. It is kind of funny and cool, but it's very dishonest.
I mean, I'm not.
Andrew, you talked to me that question. I want the record to show that like I agree with Andrew's push there. It's a toxic push. I'm all for it. But yeah, I mean, like next time, I think
I'm not going to.
Well, I provided a source, okay, from the.
You're the only one seeing that, sir.
Sorry, you provided, right? Yeah, and you know what that source doesn't say? That the Germans had a hierarchy in which blonde-haired, blue-eyed people were at the top of. It literally doesn't say that anywhere in the source.
Yazis actually says exactly that. The Yazis idealize Aryans as blonde, blue-eyed, athletic, and tall.
Show me which part.
I posted the link.
But who cares?
Okay, so Sarah has to do some work. Sarah has to do some work. Sarah has to do some.
Notice how quiet he went. Notice how quiet Andrew Wilson got after he pointed out that there was actually a definition there, because he knows there was, and he waits for the panel to freak. And then while the panel's freaking, he figures out what he's going to say next. Where exactly are you getting that? Where does that source get the source from? As far as I know, it was Adam.
Any actual conversation happening, so he tries to dig into this rabbit hole.
Into the link while you guys are arguing, but first let me get through two more. Grid says Tally is killing it. I need her as a guest on my show. Yes, Tally. I think.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait. Do you know what a circular argument is, Coded Friends? Do you? I do. I believe you said this and this several times now, but you were not able to move past that one, which if you go back and listen to this recording, I actually conceded part of that. Well, yeah, that you've said this and this repeatedly. Yeah, that's called a circular argument, sir. It was already addressed. Just go back and watch the recording. I told you that I may be wrong about that, but the rest I wasn't. He needed a rib. He wasn't perfect. Sorry. Sorry, sir.
Be messaging you here in the next couple.
Yeah, I love how Tali came in and pointed out what normal liberals should be.
Oh my God! I told you I conceded part of that for you. You're just as bad as a fucking flat earther, aren't you?
Saying and how they shouldn't be all outraged, which is exactly what we all did. We just had a casual conversation about ways this could be interpreted by various people. Nobody said anything insane. Nobody said the American Eagle needs to be canceled. Nobody said Sydney Sweeney's a Nazi. Like,
yeah, I know you already explained that. For flash and pizzazz, something that a perfect being would need is something that was more flashy to do. Dee. Wake up, man. Listen, look at what you're doing. Look at what you're saying. I'll just leave that there.
You're asking for cookies because you're like, look, we didn't go as crazy as we used to.
Yeah, I want a fucking cookie. Yeah,
right. And I just want to let you know, I can't even find the word blonde in this thing.
First of all, there are people.
Okay, well, you didn't click on my article then.
Yeah, I did.
Who are calling to do
it's
that,
it's the Nuremberg race.
Oh my God, dude, stop. You're doing circular arguments. This one was just said. This one was just said again. Okay.
Laws, Nuremberg race laws.
Oh
Can you
that's that's not even
no, that's
Ryan,
not me.
Andrew.
That's somebody else. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So which link am I looking at?
The
one from Ryan. What I posted.
The encyclopedia. Wait, you posted.
Like I said, the Holocaust Encyclopedia. Yeah.
Holocaust Encyclopedia.
Actually, that's a good. I will actually give this argument again to Andrew because that's a good. It could be biased. It very easily could be biased, primarily because of the Holocaust survivor thing.
Yeah, is that not a reliable source for you?
Nazi ideas. Okay, I got it. Hold on, I will read it. Shut up. Nazi ideas about that. How do you say Aryan race? Hitler and Nazis identified Germans as members of Aryan race, according to the Nazis.
What's their source? I want their source.
Hey, Andrew, can I ask a question real quick?
Nazis idealized. Hold on, it says it right here. Nazis idealized Aryans as blonde, blue-eyed, athletic.
Yeah.
And tall.
Okay. So hang on. This is from a Jewish organization who's saying this.
Listen to this. Yeah, that's the problem with it. Yeah, we can't trust it because it's from the Jews, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't use that source. I have a different source. When I give you my source, it will be much different, and it will actually be more of physical type evidence. Well, not anymore because it's been a long time ago.
What's their source?
It is Andrew Wilson, did the Holocaust happen?
Yeah. But anyway, I want the source.
Wait, how many people died in the Holocaust?
6 million, as far as I'm aware. I still want the
Actually,
source.
a lot more than that.
Okay,
That's how many Jews died.
Wait,
a lot more people
source
than
for that, Andrew?
Yeah, there are sources for that. This is a different question. This is a different question.
No, I
So,
want to
oh God.
Hang on. Let me defend myself because these are some crazy ass accusations being thrown at me, right?
I didn't make
First
an
of all,
accusation.
where in the world would you ever get this idea that somebody, me, who's historically literate, actually historically literate,
you couldn't even click on the right link from Ryan, buddy.
Would
like,
take these crazy.
Right?
Wait, I'm sorry.
To be fair,
It doesn't even say Ryan under that link.
Can I follow Andrew? It seems like that's the trend.
Hang on,
Okay.
let me at least say my piece, right? Fucking dumb dork with your stupid hat. The case of the matter is that I am actually historically literate. Oh, did I click the wrong link? Therefore, he must not be historically. Good job, soy pill, you fucking retard. So back to this. Here's what I understand.
He just claimed he's historically literate, but he doesn't know that they had a preference.
Understand
Nazis were also very
I understand how racialism operated inside of Nazi Germany and in for instance, if we were to take fascist
Eventually,
Italy,
she'll
you would
get to
have
this
the-
definition.
you would have a completely different model than what you would have inside of Germany, right? Because of Catholicism and other things. It is actually only the case that there were some advocates inside of the Nazi party and eugenics programs who did want to push this type of ideology, but at the government level, it's not necessarily true. Why would I bring this up when you talk about the Holocaust Museum, right? Is it because you just don't rely on a source because it's a Jewish source? No, because they may be sourcing to information which is not great. They just might be sourcing to
Yeah.
information which isn't
This is actually a good argument that Andrew is making.
great. If they had a primary source that they link to, I'm happy to read it.
Yeah, so
That's
instead
how
of
his
wasting
that's
half an
how
hour, Andrew,
history's
you can just
done.
make your claim of what
I just
the
made it.
Nazi
I
hierarchy
just
is.
made it.
What is it? You could have been checking into
I
the
do
source.
just
have
made
a
it.
friend that's a
ahead,
has a
Karen.
PhD in German history.
Good for him.
That's
Is he
watching
Jewish?
my stream. Not Jewish, no, just German.
Have him join.
And they have said that racial hierarchies were central to Nazi ideology.
I want the evidence, not I said so.
Yeah, Andrew.
I am really waiting to. I think Sarah's right now looking up the definition. Right after that, I'll be giving my source. And I'll probably talk about how we read definitions.
Nation
Friend.
and the
race?
American.
Friend.
So where's the racial hierarchy in the American Eagle at?
First of all, we're not even talking about racial hierarchy. We're talking about the fact that Ryan said blonde hair, blue-eyed. That was the top of the hierarchy. That's what I'm looking for evidence for.
Aryan, yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
So-
show me the primary sources for this.
What would please you, Andrew?
A primary
What's
source.
He wants
acceptable
he wants a
primary
pri-
source?
so
Tell me what's an acceptable primary source.
Andrew,
Like, is
can
my
I
mom good
guess
enough?
what you're can I just
Yes,
make a guess
please.
what you're looking for, Andrew?
Yes.
From what I'm hearing you say, you're not disagreeing with the idea that Aryan was the us and non-Aryan was the them. Am I understanding you correctly there?
Correct.
Gotcha. So the thing that it sounds like you're contending with is the idea of what Aryan is pointing to.
Yes.
Right. So so you're familiar with what I'm throwing down. Schmidt,
So
move
for
all these other
instance,
fucking
you're right.
communitarians.
For instance,
Yeah.
here in the United States, most of our wartime billboards also showed blonde hair, blue-eyed boys going off to the front. Many of the superheroes had blonde hair and blue-eyed, and that was.
And then in America,
Plenty
for
of
instance,
African people with blonde hair and blue eyes. Plenty of Middle Eastern
please let
people
Andrew
with
cook, Tally.
blonde hair.
Please let
Hang
Andrew
on,
cook.
hang on.
Please let Andrew
That-
cook.
was that due to the fact that the United States wanted only blonde hair, blue-eyed people at the top of the hierarchy? No, it's because it was part of their propaganda campaign. All I'm asking for is a primary source, right, which shows what it is that you're trying to demonstrate, so that we can at least have a
Andrew, the problem
conversation
is
under
we
the
don't know
same
what you're asking
suppositions.
for. What do you think Ryan is claiming when he says a hierarchy?
Man, Daisy, that's actually a good argument that they are possibly of a generation that they have a hard time finding out exactly where to find their sources. I mean, yeah, they can point at my school book. Yeah, they can point at definition, but where even is the definition getting the source? You know, like where does Webster's dictionary get its source from? That argument. You make a very good argument there that it's the generation. There's a generational gap there that makes it where they may not know.
He just said it, man.
Yeah, you don't have to ask me to post links. You're fine posting links.
Like, do you want to
Because
post some
obviously,
propaganda?
wait, hold on, real quick,
Andrew
Ryan,
wants a
real quick.
source
Right,
He
Tali,
wants a
please,
source
go on.
referencing blonde hair and blue eyes. That's what he
Yeah,
wants.
yeah,
not
or
what
at
I
least
was-
like pointing to definitively, like when
Pointing definitively, yes.
to like what
There we
does
go.
Aryan? What is Aryan?
What is
like, what does
Aryan?
Aryan
What is the
look
Aryan?
like?
What are we pointing
And
to
he's
here?
yeah, and he's just contending to the source of it. That's it. If you don't have that, that's cool. We can probably table it if that's the case.
Yeah, and I'm
But
fine with
if
that
you-
I don't have it on my
yeah,
fingertips. I'll
but if
look
you
for
do, it's
one,
cool.
but everyone knows this is the case. Andrew's playing
Everyone
dumb.
doesn't
That's
know
the whole
the
thing I'm
case.
pointing
Wait,
out.
Everyone doesn't know that.
Can we confirm that when the word Aryan is said, we now have an association with blonde hair and blue eyes? We can all
No.
agree upon
Can
that,
I be
right?
honest with you?
No,
I-
apparently
no.
not, because we're playing
Can I-
dumb.
can I-
Because Andrew's playing dumb.
I'm not. No, no. Like, oh god. I think.
Well, you're either playing dumb or actually dumb. I don't think you're actually
When I
dumb.
think
So
of
it's one of the
Aryan,
two.
actually, Ryan.
I don't call it playing dumb. Playing dumb is another form of dishonesty, I believe.
Just so
I'm
you know,
gonna-
I think of Iran when I think of Aryan. Can you think of why that would be, Ryan? Why would it be
Because
that
the
I would think
word
of
has had
Iran?
multiple meanings in the past, Andrew.
Why?
and
Why?
we
Well,
need
why
to
would I
take-
think of
Why,
that?
why is the word Asian and Caucasian? I don't
the term
understand.
Aryan-
You got to prove to me what it means,
Yeah,
Ryan.
Iranians
Let's
have
spend
all
30
Asians from the
fucking minutes.
Caucasus.
Aryans.
Oh,
They
hey,
always-
hey,
Yeah, man, it is a bit of a hard time hearing over all these dolts, for sure.
The definition literally says for
Yay.
Aryan relating to
Okay, now Sarah is going to read a definition, and she actually tries to point the crowd in the right direction, but I believe that she read the definition wrong in order to, if you're going to step in and you're going to moderate, and I'm not trying to tell her how to moderate. She's been doing it a long time. She's good. I do like her channel. You know what I mean? I like going up on her panel. It gives me an ability to debate different things. But I don't think she read the definition enough to make it clear into what topic is being talked about. Yeah. Yep. It is a good idea to jump in with the definition. Yeah, no, I don't have any hard feelings at all. I didn't feel the need to tell you that either. But no hard feelings, man. It's all good. You're all right, man. Here, I'll give you a pat on the back.
or denoting people's speaking Indo-European or specifically Indo-Iranian languages or ancient peoples.
Oh shit!
Wait, Sarah, I looked it up.
He thinks he won. He thinks he won, and I think Sarah knows she's about to flop it on him. But he thinks he won.
Aryan is actually a yogurt drink from Turkey.
So-
I don't think it has anything to do with Nazis or even race.
The term
It's just
Aryan.
Hold
The
on,
term Aryan
hold
was
on.
incorporated
The
by
second
that's
term.
Iran.
Hold on.
Sorry,
The second
that's Iran.
term. The second. That's the first definition. The second. It does say dated.
That's not how it reads. And she brought up this. Did you notice she brought up dated after reading the first term?
And then the second one, it says in Nazi ideology of or denoting white non-Jewish people, especially
Yep.
those of Northern European
accept that
origin
too.
or descent,
Sure.
typically having blonde hair and blue eyes, and regarded as the supposedly superior racial.
Well, at least we settled
can
that.
okay, so like to
Debate's
build, to
over.
build upon that a little bit, because there's two parts of this, right? Like, and I talked about this within my thing, and
I don't want him to build upon it. And I had a bit more that I was going to go into, of course, but like I spent a half hour in the beginning of the show talking about Donald Trump. Let's check out this definition here. Now, I would like to point out how you read a definition. What is the subject that we are talking about? The subject that we are talking about is, does the Schwazi party believe that there was an ideology towards blonde-haired, blue-eyed men? So we get this definition here that says dated, relating to or denoting to people seeking Indo-European, especially Indo-Iranian. Like, notice I said dated first because that's what it says first, dated. And it goes on, blah, 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 blah. Okay, well, that's not necessarily the area. Oh, let's look down here. Hey, look, it doesn't say dated. It doesn't say dated, and instead it says, in Nazi ideology are denoting to white non-Jewish people, especially those of Northern European origin or descent, typically having blonde hair, blue eyes, and regarded as a supposedly superior racial group. Now, you don't just do that. You don't just read the adjective and go with the adjective. You click over here on the noun because we want to learn this word. We're not just trying to find little pieces that fit with what we want to say. By the way, hello, Cardi Blanche. You should run back, man. It's going to be a good stream. After I'm about to end it here. So after I end it, yeah, man, go check it out, man. It's going to be a fun stream. Anyway, so you click on it again and we read dated, and it's all speaking of Indo-European. Even says it's old-fashioned, Indo-Aryan, right? And then it goes into what's current, and it repeats the same thing. So as both a noun and a verb, it fits. I don't know why my page is going down. As both a noun and a verb, and an adjective, it fits exactly what Ryan Radical Coder and I guess I should have backed up a little bit. Soy Pill. We're arguing. It fits it perfectly. And that's the end of the debate. You basically now was this an answer to whether or not the Cindy Sweeney ad was trying to market off this? I don't think so. You see, you have to think of how ads are written. How are ads written? Do we just pick an actress and then write an ad for it and put it out on the market? And no, usually ads, before the ad's even written, the discussion of what the ad's going to be. Oh yeah, we got to get this hot chick in here and she's got to say a line about how perfect her jeans are. And hey, since she's got good jeans, we could throw in the same thing we've been saying all along about good jeans, and there you go. Well, that isn't the commercial. Then it goes to the writers. The writers then put together these commercials. The writers write out multiple scripts usually. And often you'll find that the scripts are written for multiple body types, multiple different types of people. And the reason why that is because after the script is written, they don't just go out there and throw out the commercial, throw an actress in it. No, it goes back to the board. It's reviewed, whatnot. They pick out typically multiple scripts that are about the same with either a black woman or a Latina woman or a white woman. And after they do that, then they finally decide this is what script we want. Now let's go to the hiring agency and hire ourselves an actress. And then after they hire the actress, they figure out which script works best with that actress, and they put it all together. Do I think this was anything to do? Do I think that the company was trying to give a, let me say specifically, squash the idea? No. Do I think that the company may have been trying to capitalize on the reaction from the video? I would have to say possibly a little bit, but I don't think that they expected what happened to happen at such veracity, at such great speed. And I think why that is, I think everybody out there is upset about a video or about a commercial that a video mill, I said China, but it can be anywhere, a video mill has pushed to them. I don't know of anybody who has saw this commercial without first hearing about how outrageous it was online. As always, you guys are awesome. Remember, you don't have to be wise. Just don't submit to stupid. Thank you very much, and have a good day. Oh shoot! Oh wait! Stop! Stop! I got ahead of myself. Come back here. Nobody left, but anyway. I forgot to answer my source. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys. I did forget to answer my source. Everybody type this into your chats later. LEBENOSBORN. This word means the lifeblood. The lifeblood. I put it right in here for you guys to copy it if you want. This word is called Lebensborn, the lifeblood. What was the lifeblood? The lifeblood was the future of Germany. Lebensborn is what I believe it was called. And it's the lifeblood, I believe. Or, sorry. Fountain of life. Fount of life. Okay, yeah, basically the lifeblood. But I guess it's translated fount of life. And it was camps that were created specifically to raise not 100%, but primarily blonde-haired, blue-eyed men that would children and women, the young ladies that would eventually produce the blonde-haired, blue-eyed race that was then supposed to be introduced into society through these camps, which they would go to Nordic territories, and they would look for these blonde-haired, blue-eyed children, and they would kidnap primarily blonde-haired, blue-eyed children and take them and put them in these camps to be raised. But these kids were raised as if they were perfect beings, and especially ones that were born in the camp, they were treated to be absolutely perfect. Now, there were some kids that were within the Lebensborn camps, though, that didn't have blonde hair. Almost all of them had blue eyes. The Germans had the hopes that they could breed that disgusting dark hair out of them. Yes, the Lebensborn camps were specifically built to produce that super race. And I'm sorry I forgot to provide my proof. It's a very interesting read if you go and look them up. Yeah, thank you, Cardi Blanche. It's a very interesting read if you go and look them up. You could spend days on end learning about the Lebensborn camps. As always, again, I'm just going to go ahead and walk out of here, and I'm going to let the music play because I messed up.
They are out there sucking up life, devourers of souls, not mere myths, but a chilling truth to bear. Evil images from lore, revealing their ghastly roles. What are these beastly things of fright? Could be a friend or the stranger you met last night. Legends of tales, each one holds a grain of truth. Hidden beasts within us waiting to break loose. But listen closely, for this is not the beast I see. Not the primal instincts that dwell in the deep. No, it's the ones who revel in the dark release. Twisting truths, bending laws, the flaws they keep. They find joy in chaos, delight in pain. Their hearts tainted, their minds unchained. They dance on the edge where shadows meet light. Their existence a paradox, both wrong and right. They wear masks of civility and harbor dark desires, feeding on discord, stoking the fires. They left their echoes in the corridors of power, a symphony of malevolence, growing louder by the hour. Listen closely, for this is not the beat of the primal instincts that dwell in the deep. No, it's the ones who revel in the dark release, twisting truth, bending laws as long as they can. Wear masks of civility and harbor dark desires, feeding on discord, stoking the fires. The echoes in the corridors of power, a symphony of malevolence, growing louder by the hour. But listen closely.
I have no clue why I have my image still over there.
Not the primal instincts that dwell in the deep. No, it's the ones who revel in the dark release, twisting truth, bending laws that flaws they came. The bustling streets with
Hey, here comes a penguin.
a lost penguin roams, its flippers out of place among skyscrapers and billboards. It seeks a hidden truth, for it knows the darkest spots within the office loop. What are these enigmatic souls of the night? Could be your barista, the artist by the street light. Urban legends whisper tales of their disguise, hidden villains among us, you can find them by their lies. Listen closely, for this is not the foe I seek, not the mundane wrongdoers who blend in so sleek. No, it's the ones who thrive on secrets and deceit, bending rules, distorting facts, their motives incomplete. The penguin feathers ruffled by nonsense, tracking footprints of
A lot of it has to do with the world doesn't function around them the way that they wish it does, and they make up this dream of why not.
Yet harbor hidden fires, a simple hate for you, feeding on chaos, stoking ambitions, desires, a symphony of malevolence masked by Taylor. Listen closely, for this is not the foe I seek, not the ordinary schemers who play hide and seek. No, it's the ones who revel in the dark release, twisting narratives, bending laws that flaws.
Here, let's try this live. Hey Tom, Nightwolf says hi.
Among us, leaving traces of disgrace. Their hunger insatiable, their motives unclear. In this concrete jungle, who will emerge is still clear.
Guess I'll have to tell him after this. It puts the lotion in its skin, or else it gets the hose again.
Batman's back in town, penguin.